family. We are so excited that you've joined us tonight for another episode of Boss Up, aired on Hope TV. Listen, we are the House of Hope Atlanta. Dr. E. Dewey Smith Jr. is our pastor, and we believe that life with God is better in every way, every day. We also want to take a moment to thank our producers for making sure that we have these amazing guests. And I want all of our viewers to know that you are in for a treat tonight. So you know what I need you to do for Boss Up. I need you to hit share, share, share. Share this video on all of your social media platforms so others can experience the wisdom and the power of and all of the energy that they receive on our Boss Up episodes. So let me introduce these amazing guests. We have Joel King with us. He's an American visual and performing artist, born and raised in Southern Illinois, establishing his company JPEK Creative Works Theater out of St. Louis. He uses his platform to originate conscious, creative content for stage, TV, and film. Boss Up family, join me in welcoming Joel King to Boss Up. Say hello to everyone.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, hello, hello, hello. Pleasure.
Thank you so much. In addition to Joel King, we have none other than Toni Simmons Henson. She performs as Toni X Creates, and she is an Atlanta, Georgia-based international speaker, spoken word poet, best-selling author, producer, and serial entrepreneur. She has over 30 years of expertise in business development and marketing. Boss Up family, join me in welcoming Toni Simmons Henson to Boss Up tonight.
Hello, how are you? Great to see you.
Excited about our content. Thank you so much. I'm excited about our content for tonight because we're going to talk about how you survive the entertainment industry. Because a lot of us, we reap the benefits of watching our favorite entertainers and following different brands and different artists, but we don't know what it takes, especially in this current climate. So let's talk a little bit. I want to start with you, Joel. Let's get to know you. How would you describe your brand and what you do? Just kind of give us in a nutshell what you do on a day-to-day basis.
I think you said it, like it's conscious entertainment. I pay a lot of attention to what's going on in the current social climate, and I wait for that energy to spark me, and I put pen to paper. And my hope is that with the information that I put out there, it not only tells a story, but it also gives concrete, realistic solutions and how we heal and reveal.
Okay, so I'm going to need for you to unpack that. Tell us
Absolutely.
what that looks like on the ground. I mean, because I do know that art imitates life, but how do you kind of bring about this healing? I'm interested in this. How do you bring about this healing in what you do? Because we all need
My
healing.
mom, yes. My mom says it's best. It's like all about trying to find that well place. And in finding that well place, you got to be cognizant of what the conscious of the people. What is it that, um, what is it? What's the need? What's the current need? The things that we're conscious of and the things we're unconscious of. Figure out how do we heal? How do we heal? And a lot of that comes through revealing those things that may become uncomfortable, those things that are comfortable, the things of love, family, faith, all those things, and really bringing those type of issues to the forefront and having those real conversations. And again, some hopeful solutions that we can take away with us. So it's not just being entertained, but we're being educated and informed at the same time.
Oh, I love it. I love it. We're going to have to make sure, you're going to have to make sure you share how we can follow you and see you in action. So
Absolutely.
I want to shift to you, Miss Toni Simmons Henson. Talk to us a little bit about you and your brand. What do you do on a day-to-day basis?
Well, I am the co-founder, and producing director of the Atlanta Black Theater Festival. So that is my mainstay, which has been known all over the world. We recently ranked among the top 5 theater festivals in the world. So we are gearing up for our signature event, Marathon of Theater. We pivoted because of COVID, and we're going virtual this year. So that's my mainstay right now.
Wow.
Phenomenal.
And that's
Okay.
coming up September 30th. Yeah.
Okay, so let me pause here to all of our viewers and let you know you made a great decision when you tuned in tonight because we have two amazing guests. So, what I need you to do again is share, share, share. Share this video on all of your social media platforms because Tony Simmons Henson and Joel King are going to share some information with us that I believe is going to help you boss up. So, let's get to a few questions. I want to pivot back to you, Joel. How did you get into the entertainment industry? Did it choose you or did you choose it? How did you get here?
I think it definitely chose me because I when I grew up, I knew myself more as a visual artist first, um, drawing and painting, and then thankful to the East St. Louis public school system, they brought
Okay.
different acts to the school, and from that there was a spark. Something in me said, like, you know what, I want to do that one day. And then I also, my family, we grew up in a gospel recording like church, so I was very familiar with like the discipline and the etiquette that it took to be in this professional atmosphere. So it was just like, okay. And so all that started to just bloom, I guess, more after when I got out of college, and I auditioned for my first show, professional show, coming straight out of high school. It was for the Opera Theater of St. Louis, called Joshua Boots. And when I got the call back for like a main role, I didn't get it, but I was part of the show. And after being a part of the show, I was just in love. Like, I need to make this the rest of my life. So that's what I did. I went to college, did more work with that, and then when I graduated from college, it was like, okay, what do you want to do next? And this is how I just immersed myself into it.
So wait a minute, wait a minute. Did I hear you correctly? Are you telling me that the entertainment industry is not all fun and games, but
No,
there's a
yes,
discipline that comes to that? Talk to me a little bit because I think that people want success with no sacrifice. And
come on.
so they see entertainers and they say, "Oh, I can do that. Oh, I can do that." So tell us a little bit about the discipline that comes with the industry.
I have this phrase: "Don't mistake your power for your privilege." The power is in our gifting. The privilege is our ability to access those things through our people, and that comes with the discipline that we're able to like sustain it once God delivers those type of opportunities to us. That we're conscious of who we are and how we are in the room, because that is what keeps us there. Again, there are a lot of talented people. There are a lot of people that can sing, dance, act, all those things, and that may be good for that moment. But if your attitude, your personality, your punctuality, all those things are not on point, you stand the opportunity to lose all of that overnight.
I love it because I think that with any gift or any talent, there has to be a temperament because
Yes.
everything is not going to align with your plans and your desires and your wants. There's a lot of patience that you have to exude. And so I love what you just said that there's a way of being that comes with
Yeah.
being in this industry. Oh my goodness. Y'all are already talking good, and we're only like 5 minutes, 6 minutes in. So, Tony Simmons Henson, talk to us a little bit from your perspective of how you got into this. Did you choose entertainment or did entertainment choose you?
Well, my story is a little bit unique. I grew up in the backyard of Broadway in New Jersey, and have always been exposed to the arts and had the benefit of studying from a very young age. So, ballet lessons, music lessons, all of that. My parents were always pushing us towards the arts, just not necessarily for anything but a full, well-rounded educational experience. So as I moved forward, we relocated to Atlanta. But before I came from Atlanta, I actually purchased a franchise, and it's called Drama Kids International. It's based in Perth,
Mhm.
Australia. So that franchise just won all types of accolades. And so I did take classes. I'm glad Joel talked about the educational component of it. Although I didn't major in theater, I took business classes, and then I was able to take classes so that I could own and train our instructors during the franchise. So the franchise won all sorts of awards, everything. But then we relocated to Atlanta, and I purchased another 2 units of another franchise. So you can see this has been a roundabout journey to the arts. And at the end of the day, what happened was with the second franchise, the only one making money was the franchisor. I was in a very bad business deal, and my exit strategy was that they sued me. So after they filed a lawsuit because I wasn't meeting my goals, and it was just a scam. At the end of the day, it was a scam. So they filed a lawsuit. We lost six figures in income. We lost
Oh,
six figures. We had six-figure losses, and real estate, all of that was gone. So I just went into a tailwind of despondency. And my husband said to me one day, he said, "You were happy when you were producing theater. Why don't you indie produce theater?" So I said, "Okay, that's true." And then late one night on an hot Atlanta August night, I heard four words: the Atlanta Black Theater Festival.
mm,
And it was so intuitive that I thought it already existed. So, of course, I believe that that was inspired. That was my mandate to move forward and to do it. And I got up, I Googled it straight up out of bed about 3 a.m., and it did not exist. And now we're 150 playwrights and 3,000 artists later. We provided a platform because we must tell our stories.
I love this. So if you're just joining us for Boss Up, I can already share that I am blessed, bettered, empowered by this conversation. So I need you to hit the share button, share this on all of your social media platforms so that others can get their dose of empowerment tonight and learn how to boss up. So I want to go back to something that you just shared, Miss Tony Simmons Henson. You talked a little bit about a term that we're using a lot in current culture and in popular culture, and that is the pivot. You had one opportunity and one door to close, but you didn't let that stop you, and you pivoted into something that is fulfilling for you and into your dream. So I want to talk about that for a minute because a lot of people are having to change and switch gears based upon the economic climate that we're in. And so, Joel, can you talk a little bit about whether you had to make a pivot in your career? Something where you thought it was headed in one direction, but due to circumstances beyond your control, you had to move into another field or another industry. Talk about that, if you will.
absolutely. I actually live between Atlanta and St. Louis, and I wish I would have known about the Atlanta Black Theater Festival, but because I definitely would submit it.
See?
Oh, yeah, so this is amazing. But my network is in St. Louis because I was starting to build things out of Atlanta, and then when COVID hit, it was a paradigm shift for me because I never thought that there would be a moment in time where entertainment would just stop. And I
Mhm.
had gigs and things lined up until
Right.
November. So it's like, what's my next step? So what it did was after I got out of there, got out of that little dark hole that I think a lot of us crawled
Yes.
into for a minute.
Yes. Yes.
I realized there was something I need to figure out what are my other alternatives as far as how do I take care of me, outside and inclusive of the entertainment industry. So I actually enrolled in school. So I'm doing online classes right now. What Grand Canyon University with a Master of Arts in Communication with emphasis in
Come
education.
on.
Yeah, so because I'm thinking like, what's the one thing that I would not mind doing if I'm not producing, directing, performing, and I would love being able to inspire through teaching in colleges. Let me be very specific with that, and creating curriculums that I can like implement into the high school and junior high school students. But it has definitely been that, and even to the point to where I decided to. Um, move some things here in St. Louis. So I'm working out of St. Louis now until things kind of open back up and become more alive again in Atlanta. And when that's ready, I'll be back there to do some more work there as well.
So as soon as this episode is over, you know what I want you to do? I want you to stay on for a few minutes and I'm going to have you network with Miss Tony Simmons Henson. Y'all going to
Yes,
exchange
please.
information because that's what Boss Up is about. It's about building community because no man or woman is an island. If we're going to
Yes,
get through this season, guess what? We're going to get through it together. So,
absolutely.
uh, Miss Tony, I'm going to ask you a different question because when you speak, I hear a lot of experience, just like what I hear in Joel's voice. But it sounds like you're 30 years in, and I want to talk a little bit about legacy because a lot of our success will not be monetized in the money or the wealth that
Mhm.
we amass, but it will be seen in our influence and in the people that we've helped and pulled up with us along the way. And so I want to talk to you about legacy and mentorship. What would you say to a young professional who's watching, or a young performer, young playwright, young artist who's watching and saying, you know what? I want to start my own festival too. I'm in Illinois or I'm in New York and I want to start a Black film festival. How do I do it? What advice do you have for someone who wants to do what you do?
I'm glad you asked that question. That's a very good question because it is very, very important that anything that we do be a seed. We have to sow seeds. I think our journey has created an obligation and a responsibility to develop and nurture the next generation. So I'm all about that. I have two proteges or apprentices under me who I am developing, young people who I am developing, who I see the damage because they have a lot of self-doubt. They always question their creativity, their ability to perform. So there is, there's generational issues that we deal with. And the Bible says, to whom much is given, much is required. So therefore, it is not about money, especially at this point in my life. It is not about money. It is all about what legacies are we going to leave for the next generation. So the Atlanta Black Theater Festival was developed just for that. We are an incubator for playwrights to develop the next generation of storytellers so we can keep our stories strong and alive. And theater is the best and most effective and the most powerful medium to do that.
So, Joel, I'm going to ask you the same question. Let's talk about these young African American males who are watching you right now and saying,
Yeah.
I want to be like that brother. What advice do you have for young men who want to get into this industry but just don't know how?
Allow yourself to get aligned with real, true mentorship. Because this current generation, God bless them, but a lot of them feel like they got all the answers. And the truth of it is, you don't. So create the opportunity to figure out what you don't know. So there's some things that the older generation can get from the younger generation and vice versa. But we all got to be willing to listen. So I say go after that inspiration, take hold of the journey, and keep it moving.
I love it. I love it. So, Miss Tony Simmons Henson, we're gonna zoom in on you for a second. Talk to us a little bit about the people who influenced you, because I'd like to believe that you woke up like this, but I believe there had to be someone in your life. I think of Alice Walker. I think of Toni Morrison. When I look at you, I see that same elegance. Who are some of the people who you looked up to in order for you to have the courage to do this?
Well, quite honestly, my mentors or my the people that I aspired to be were not famous. They were family. My mother, Marion Simmons, my uncle, Thelman Middleton, uh, was a serial entrepreneur. My grandfather was a serial entrepreneur. My uncle, Charles Middleton. So I come from a legacy, a family, a bloodline. My great grandmother was the first Black woman to build a house in Union
Mm.
County, New Jersey.
Yes.
So it is in my blood now. Um, those are the people who inspire me, because they were operating during a time where the barriers to entry were almost impossible. They are slim and the cracks are few, but back then they were almost impossible. But they kept their heads up and they believed, and not only that, but they took us along. Our children, most families, people say children are to be seen and not heard. That's been a tradition. But for some reason or another in my family, my father and my mother didn't espouse that philosophy. They always encouraged us to sit at the table, to sit at the adults' table, not the children's table, so that we can hear and that we can learn. Because the best way to teach a child is by demonstrating, by living the life. And they're watching. They will. What do they say? It's better to see a sermon than to hear one. They're watching. Our children are watching. Another inspiration for me is I graduated from Howard University. Need I say more? There is
No,
a whole
that's it.
there is a whole
Yes.
history of people, and going to that institution was a it was a what they did was they called it the Howard Fever. And you had professors, and I'm sure this is at all HBCUs. We had professors that told us about the shoulders that we stood on. And those professors and artists and poets and writers and business people are the lineage is too long to mention. But I knew where I came from because I went to Howard University. They reinforced and instilled a can-do attitude. So there were no excuses.
Listen, you are speaking so much wisdom right now. When I think about the current PhD program that I'm in, we are a conglomerate of amazing men and women. And some of us went to HBCUs and some of us went to private colleges where there was a lot of diversity. And one thing that I say about my colleagues who went to HBCUs is that y'all got the secret sauce. There are all of these special benefits, in a sense, that came from their going to an HBCU, in my opinion. There was just a sense of community that was created. And I love the fact that you mentioned Howard and how it shaped you and how it was so critical in your formation. Listen, I just believe that we as African Americans can thrive regardless to what institutions we come from, whether we come from HBCUs or schools or where we were the minority. The beautiful thing about us is that we shine wherever we go. So I love this conversation we're having. If I can, I want to go back to you, Miss Toni Simmons Henson. If I can get back to you, I want to ask, what have been some of your greatest rewards in doing what you do?
The ability to me help other people see their talents and not do the self-doubt. I encounter a lot of self-doubt or people who are struggling to um, get past that first breakthrough of success, because that's what builds confidence naturally. So when people break through that first round of success, they then they know they can do it. And through the Atlanta Black Theater Festival, I am so proud that we've been able to provide that incubator to encourage writers to self-produce their works. Because right now, traditionally, most writers are look to other theater performing arts organizations to produce their work. So, as you all know, that those are the gatekeepers, and the gatekeepers are traditionally not opening up doors for our stories. So, with the Atlanta Black Theater Festival, or through the Atlanta Black Theater Festival, we are encouraging those to look at other spaces and to open up the doors for themselves to self-produce their work. Now, when I started this was 9 years ago. We're in our ninth year. And so Tyler Perry was an emerging phenomenon. So we can all look to him as an example of what to do when you do it yourself. Not He didn't wait for any doors to open. And we talk about inspiration before. I didn't mention him. I also mentioned Oprah Winfrey. Those are the people who did not wait for others to open doors for them. They opened them up for themselves, or if they got a crack in the door. And that's one of the reasons why I started the Atlanta Black Theater Festival with my sister Wanda Simmons, of course, to change that narrative, to change those images. So it's important. It really is truly important. It's an important mission and mandate.
We as African Americans, we have to create doors. We have to create opportunities for each other, and we have to tell our story and study what we do and publicize authors who are African American and quote our own, because that's the only way that we're going to see this whole culture and who we are, the beauty and our Black genius. The only way we're going to see it really flourish and grow, especially in a season of unrest like this, is if we push and promote each other. And so as we come to the close of another episode of Boss Up, I want our viewers to know how they can reach you, how they can find you, how they can follow you. And so, Miss Toni Simmons Henson, if you would share how we can find you on social media and how we can contact you if we want to support the festival.
Great, yes. Well, the festival is September 30th to October 3rd. So look for us the last Wednesday of the week. You can go to atlantabtf.org, spelled out. Just Google Atlanta Black Theater Festival, and not film, theater. And you'll see us all over the internet, and just join us. It's pay what you can. So if you want to donate $1 to get the access to the access pass, you can. If you got 10 or 100, we'll take whatever you can. In this COVID season, art heals, and it's time for healing. We just want you in the house. So please join us, Atlanta Black Theater Festival, September 30th through October the 3rd.
All right, Joel, we just want to find out from you as we close this episode of Boss Up, how can we find you? How can we support you?
You can find me, follow Instagram, JoelPeking, or Facebook, Joel P.E. King, and or Twitter at JPEK1980.
Again, family, we thank you for joining us tonight for another episode of Boss Up. We are the House of Hope Atlanta, and we believe the life of God is better in every way, every day. And in the words of our senior pastor, Dr. E. Dewey Smith Jr., we leave you with this: if you are good to God, God will certainly be good to you. Have a safe weekend, family, and we will see you next week.